Uh, Feeding the dogs. Delicious dog food. Sponsored. But yeah,
You gotta
we,
feed, you gotta feed the puppies.
you know, yeah, it's fucking hot out there, man. You know it's hot when you like heat rash on the fall.
Yeah, from Munda cheese.
But, man, how you doing, bro?
What's that?
How you doing, bud?
Good.
Been all
I'm
night.
doing good. You doing all right?
Multi and autumn. So, uh, you know, going on with waiting for the baby, your two dogs, and a very pregnant wife. Who I love
And, and
very,
she's
very
only gonna
much.
get and she's only gonna get pregnant or
And more pregnant for the little crush job and gets there. So you texted me the other day about an
yep.
excellent idea for a podcast episode, and it was life during and post the military.
I thought it'd be a good little subject.
And now, granted, this is just our experiences, your experience. We don't speak for everybody, but we
Nope.
do have buddies, and we see how that went down. Um, so you go, but before, during, or how was Joe Monaco's life?
Joe Monaco's life. Well, I mean, let's see. I joined the military in August of 2004. Um, Not knowing what I was signing up for, dead honest. Um, the biggest thing, from the difference in the military was definitely, number one, structure. Um, when they say the government owns you, the government, they own you.
Yeah,
You are essentially issued item, and they treat you as such. We did it, obviously, this is really generally speaking. We had some good times, we had some really shitty times. Uh, Seen, been places where people normally don't go. Seen
you
things that normal people don't see.
interested people having trying to kill you.
You know, but like, I like to go back to like thinking like living on post. Like, not everyone knows like what a military base is like, and it's essentially like it's its own city. The whole point of a military base is it can be self sufficient. They are self sufficient. Um, Everything you need is right there. Gym, defect, gym, food, gas, any housing, stores. It'd be a pretty boring life, but if you literally chose not to leave base, and you could literally be just fine staying on post and having everything you need. Now, one biggest thing I know we and you probably don't miss. For some odd reason, is the military had a huge fucking boner for doing Connex layouts.
Mhm. Yeah, let's go inventory everything. Oh, we're missing one item. Let's unload it again.
And every time it unloaded, it got bigger.
Yeah. Somehow we found more shit.
And it took some crafty private or specialist to go to another Connex that's not even assigned to that platoon to find the missing item just to get it done so it can be out and done by 5 p.m.
You got to tactically acquire it.
Ugh. Like, I don't think people understand, like, for some odd reason, it made sense to pull everything out of a Connex. This happened probably a minimum once every other week. Pull everything out, put everything back in. Pull everything out, put everything back in. Sometimes I need to do a layout. It was like, hey, we're going to pull things out of the Connex. I think it was just to stay busy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another big thing they love doing is look busy. Whether you're laying out a Connex in 100-degree Texas heat or sweeping the dirt,
Or mopping rain.
mopping rain.
Mopping rain.
Now, granted, those are extreme cases reserved for people that fuck up, but yeah, it's
Seen it.
I've seen it.
I've seen it. Also, have you, military, speaking of like fun, you've had some good pranks, either witnessed and or been a part of a prank. We're not going to go into great detail with big wapple kabopple.
I know that you bring it up. We definitely are. It was a motor pool Monday, and
for civilians, Motor Pool Monday is exactly what it sounds. You spent all day Monday in a motor pool.
yes, whether you get everything done in an hour or 6, you're there all day.
Yeah, didn't matter.
One of my fellow soldiers in my platoon, Scomac, because I don't know if he wants his full name out there. He had an excellent radio DJ voice.
Yes.
And
I can vouch.
He was asking for people to call to say that they won $1,000. And his radio name is Big Rockin' Grabopple or something along those lines.
Like Big Wobble Kabobble or something. Yeah. And what would you do for $1,000?
And he had asked, would you say that you were gay for $1,000?
Yeah, like, okay, just, but not to try on this prank, but yes, I was the one who got pranked on this. And I remember the phone call. I remember being in my truck because I was driving, and the number came across. It was not a number I had saved in my phone, as I've had Reggie's number for 20 years, and it really hasn't changed a whole lot, I don't think.
You would have known it was me if I had called you.
Yeah, that was the whole point. Like, I would have known if it was you because it would have came across the phone like, gay Reggie or something, as we know now. But yeah, a number came across, and he hit his radio DJ voice, and it sounded really legit. And I didn't listen to the local radio stations down there a whole lot. I know I wasn't real big on it, so I always had CDs. So I wasn't. It worked out to the pranker benefit because I didn't know the radio station. So said person, if he doesn't want his name disclosed, could pretty much say whatever combination, like this is 101.3 WXYZ, hard rock state, of Killeen, and I would have been completely oblivious. But anyway, he's like, what would you do for $1,000? And he's like spitballing ideas. Mind you, there's like 10 people around this phone all told. Reggie being one of them. He's probably holding the phone.
Good possibility. I was standing next to him.
Well, he could be holding a phone or holding a dick, whatever.
But only if it's really small.
No.
Like an oversized clit.
Yeah. So, and then it came down to like the pranker made the suggestion of, would you say you're gay for $1,000? And again, oblivious, and I fell for it. And I yelled, I'm gay. And then the next thing I heard was the gentleman to my left of the screen go fag, and then it was click. And I'm like,
I want to say in 2025, I do apologize to my friendly homosexual community, especially in 5 months. Completely different time.
yeah, this was 2007.
Okay.
Because I believe it was said person was not in the 1/10 of the Pride and Honor. It was the 411th Speed and Power. Yeah, so that was cool. And then on top of it, every Friday in our unit, we had nominations for who got the shaft. I couldn't
You
tell
held
you
on to
how
that
many.
thing for like 6 months.
I couldn't tell you how long I've held that thing, and for stupid shit, just shit getting made up. Like, oh yeah, Monaco was wearing his Kevlar backwards, and there'll be no no objection, no nothing. Couldn't even defend myself. It's just me looking in disgust. Like, are you fucking kidding me? No, like that's like literally me yelling in formation. That's not true. And First Sergeant's like, well, you got it another week. And, oh, fuck it. And the point of the shaft is you had to carry the shaft everywhere you went. So.
And the shaft was just, it was what, at least 2.5 feet long, dry
It was a
shaft.
half. Yeah, it was like a half shaft or half shaft for a Humvee.
And they spray painted
green, and we had cowbells on it. So it'd be known. Yeah, it was definitely known that you were carrying something. And if I remember correctly, at the picnic that we had before, a lot of us got out. I don't know if you were part of it or not. At Lake Belton, but the first sergeant brought out the shaft again, and
yeah, I think it was already gone at that point.
I got nominated the last before I got out of the military. They had to get one more nomination out of me, and there was a good picture of me and first sergeant exchanging the power of the shaft. If that's
It was a responsibility. It wasn't just
it was but it was all in good. It was all in good fun. It was really all in good fun. Really kept morale up. And now I'm looking back at it. It was, it was funny. One of the pranks that Reggie's been in the Army. He definitely was in the Army longer. I'm gonna laugh at him right now because he got stop lost. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, appreciate
that. For people that don't know what stop loss is, that's where the military goes, oh, you know what? You're not getting out. We need you. And they hold you and they keep you in.
For the record, at that time, I don't know if it's still the same way. I know they don't do stop loss anymore, but
pussies,
lucky bastards. But when you signed your contract, you may have went in for 3 years active duty, but the entire term of your contract is 8 years.
Yep, initial contracts are 8 years. So many active, so many inactive.
Yes. So I did 5.
Yep, me too. 5 years.
And I was supposed to get out in September of 2008.
8.
And we deployed to Iraq, or we were deploying to Iraq in January of 2008. So I remember we had already had our packets in like October. It was
you had the ACAP folder.
Me, Josh, and Tater. We would see each other in briefings and meetings and stuff like that. And then they're like, you ain't going nowhere. Like Randy Savage in the Spider-Man. It's for 3 minutes. You ain't going nowhere.
I got you for 3 minutes of playtime.
So I got stuck for an extra almost 10 months.
Tate was
Josh,
stop loss.
a
I
year
think
and a
Josh
half.
and Tate were stop loss pretty much the entire deployment, or they were supposed to get out prior to our deployment, and they both got stop loss.
Yeah. So
So
fun times.
yeah. One prank comes to my mind that I witnessed, wasn't a part of, or the prankee, was, again, I want to throw you remember Christian, the older gentleman in second platoon,
Yeah.
Bridgman?
Get the drill
Um,
show.
yeah. So we're in the motor pool. This for us, a lot of the time pranks happen in motor pool Monday.
Because, like I said,
And
whether you're there for an hour or you're done in an hour or 3, you're there all
I
day.
remember one truck we had to bring into the bay, and Reggie can speak. The bays are relatively large. You can fit a lot of soldiers in there. So we pretty much got our platoon in there, and
The building, you could fit so much shit
I,
in here.
I believe it was Sergeant Fordham. Not to throw his name out there, but one of the motor pool sergeants.
I definitely
And
see the big
Christian,
board.
I remember Bridgman was a reclass, and I'm not taking nothing away when they reclass to different MLSs or whatnot. But some jobs in the military, you're not around certain military equipment as others, so you don't know as much, right? It's not their fault. It's some jobs require you to be, knowing the Humvee top to bottom, left to right. With other jobs, like, you don't need to know this stuff.
Yeah,
Just
and
like
just
just like in the real world.
like we were MPs, military police, everybody's favorite people to say. But if we had done reclass to chemical, we would have been like, we don't know what any of this shit is. So
Yeah. Now remember, they
Hey.
said you could take the turret off using a combination. Raji can vouch the turret spins 360 degrees. And
if you're really lucky, 360 degrees the other way, too.
So we told him a bogus number, and then all you had to do was lift up and the turret would come off. And he sat there for about 15 minutes trying to remove this turret by this combination of some made up number. And he got pissed, and he was even more pissed when they told him it was like, I would have looked and saw the bolts holding the turret on the truck.
Hey, chill out.
But that was the fun of the pranks. Little fact, some people don't know, is the batteries on the Humvee is located under the passenger seat. Found out an NCO had to get reminded the hard way after calling some soldier stupid because he was taking the seat out to check the batteries. And what are you doing with my seat? Checking the battery. Look under the hood, stupid. And just in retrospect, you don't call soldiers stupid. You call soldiers retarded. That's
Somehow
it's
it hits
not
differently.
yeah. They get offended. You call them stupid. You call them retarded. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I am.
And,
But like we said, we were MPs, military, like base life. After work, I mean, essentially, like almost on every weekend, if we're in garrison, it was almost like a barracks party every weekend, essentially.
if we were
Take over a day room.
Yeah, if we were in the barracks having a party, we're over at like Wally's house having a freaking party. Like if somebody said, "Oh, beer pong on Saturday," we knew exactly where the hell we were going.
Yep, I remember going to the Rolls' house quite a few times.
But one thing that I remember, and I'm going to out myself for this one because I'm proud of it.
Good.
Just because First Sergeant and Captain Elsner, they were proud of it. So I'll just own it. I think we were training, and we had going into like a 4-day weekend they gave us, and we're standing at the balcony in front of my room, mine and Leach's room.
Oh, I know where this was going.
And it's like
Yes.
3 o'clock, 3:30 maybe ish, and we've already been drinking for at least a half an hour. And
I got to witness this. This is amazing.
one of our sister companies in the 89th, the 401st,
For first.
where they gathered the company formations, my side of the barracks overlooked it, and their slogan was when they fell out of formation was always first. Shout out to the 401st.
Always first, yo.
As they were saying that, I tried timing it properly that they in unison, but when you're drunk, your timing is shit.
Slightly skewed.
As they were saying always first, I said, and it echoed.
An incredibly loud volume too.
I said always worst.
Woo!
Everybody stopped what they're fucking doing. You never saw a friggin' formation of 150 to 200 people stop. And then the first sergeant was like, "Who the fuck said that?"
I remember, and mind you, Reggie, we're supposed to have each other's backs, right? You have my
Y'all
six.
fucking left me.
Me and Lee, like,
By the time I turned around and went to go into my room, everybody was gone. And he was like, "Who the hell said that?" And I'm like this. That was me, first sergeant. I apologize.
Oh, I remember you get your ass down.
So I was like, "Yes, first sergeant." I went into the barracks room, grabbed 3 beers out of the fridge because I knew it was going to be. I'm going to have to come bearing gifts. Close the door, go downstairs. I don't think it took me 4 minutes to get downstairs. He had already talked to first sergeant, and he was down there at the bottom of the stairs waiting. He's like, "Reggie, come here." I was like, "Yes, first sergeant." Go into his office, and Captain Elkner was standing there. He was like, he told me, I was like, "Yes, first sergeant." I put 2 beers on their desk. One, I appreciate you guys as an apology. Like, thank you. And they're like, "Look," they closed the door behind me. They're like, off the record, we're not even mad. We're not even mad. In fact, we appreciate the pride in the unit. So we are not mad at you, and thank you for the beers. But because he heard it and he came talk to us,
Formality.
formality, out of professional courtesy, we would like one of the requirements is that you have to go outside and apologize. I was like,
To the entire company.
oh no, it was just to the first sergeant. By the time I got out there, everybody was already gone. So I went out there and they were standing at the steps because when you come out, 2 big glass doors,
Yep.
and then you walk downstairs into between the companies. And like first sergeant, he's like, "Yes, hold." I was like, PFC Regina. It was me who said it, and I want to formally apologize. And he's like, "I respect your pride." He's like, "But your timing couldn't have been worse." I was like, "Yes, first sergeant." And I was like, I came with a beer as a sign of apology. He's like, "Keep your beer. I appreciate it." He's like, "Don't fucking do it again." It's like, not in public anyway. So
I'm glad you brought that up because if you were going to bring that up, that was one of the core memories that stuck in with me. Because, like I said, we have each other's sixes and watch each other's backs, and me and David dipped faster than I've ever done in my life and just left you there.
dude, there was like 7 of us standing. It was me, you, Leach, Plato, Smale. I want to say it was Bergie too. but I think he was already gone at that time. But there's like a solid 6 of us up there. And and keep in mind, David was my roommate. He was gone. So much for leaving a buddy in a combat zone, right?
That was a hostile situation. And then we just said deuces. It was like Hunger Games before Hunger Games came out. He was the sacrifice.
And you know what?
He'll go as tribute.
All I could do was own it at the time. Because I did. Let's be honest, I did.
That's what you did. They had there was no way of getting out of it. Because I remember as soon as you got done, they said it, like you said, your timing could have been any worse.
Or better, depending on how you look at it.
Depending on how you look at it, yes. Right now, we're looking at it better because, let's face it, it was hilarious. But it was, I remember the company going, always first, and here you go, always worst. And who the fuck said that? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I don't even think he was done with his breath. And it was, looking back, I take pride on not having any real pranks put up against me, other than being the new private and having to go look for chem light batteries. But never really having any pranks against me or ever really getting into trouble. And even when I did get into trouble, I wasn't in trouble.
There was one more thing interesting that happened that included you and I believe it was a clock or something you threw out the window. And
Poor Weasley. We were in Iraq in 2006.
First tour, yep, first tour.
And we were at a certain base that I still don't know if it's under OPSEC or not, so I'm not going to out ourselves. But we had 3 missions, seeing as how the base was the size of a postage stamp, and it was just us and the Marines. And you can't trust the Marines really to do anything. It was area security and the TIF.
And convoy security.
And
First
ideally,
there's the road. It's supposed to rotate.
But my platoon got stuck in the detention area for the last 7 months.
Right, because I remember it started, all 3 platoons, or 2 platoons were, you guys started off on, I believe, convoys and shifted to the TIF, and then first got stuck on convoys, while second and third split the TIF, and then they put the TIF just on one platoon because we took over area security. It was a lot of transitioning in a short period of time.
Yeah, it was like out of nowhere they decided to change it. But originally I was in first squad, right, and we were doing night shifts, and then I got switched to third squad, which was doing morning or day shifts at the time before they switched back. So I was still on midnight Iraq time. The first Monday that I was going to be going with first squad, my alarm never went off. So here comes Weesty, great dude, about this tall, built like a bulldog. And next thing I know, like, I hear on the window. I hear it again. I grab my alarm clock, open the window, and chuck that thing out the window. It bounces off a headstone barrier, almost nails Weesty. Next thing I know, the window opens back up and the thing goes flying through. And thankfully, Lovejoy, Chuck wasn't there, because he probably would have picked it back up and thrown it against the wall. But he opens the window back up and he's like, "Reg, fuck up." And then Sergeant Blakely, who to this day, that team of me, Jason, and Josh, my favorite team I was ever a part of. And I loved having Frenchie as a driver. But the most fun I had was with Josh and Jason. Blakely came in and he was like, "Hey," he's like, I'm so sorry. I got dressed real quick and ran out." And we went, but poor Weesty, poor clock, because I don't think that clock made it. You know. Um, cheers.
Cheers. That you know, I got DDT'd by the 5-foot staff sergeant, squad leader. She jumped off a Humvee and slammed me into some gravel. That was cool.
Were you wearing your Kevlar?
No, I was wearing a patrol cap, and ironically enough, the rank I had on it was pin-on rank, and one of the dammits were missing. So the rank got pinned into my forehead, which it busted me open.
And that's why they call them dammit.
Is that why it's called a dammit?
Because if you lose one, you're like, damn it.
Damn it.
Or you're like, damn it.
That's one of the core memories I do remember too, is when I busted my ass to get a waiver to get promoted to specialist. And I told myself, because that's during the transition of uniform. Reggie came through the ranks, everything was pin on, right? And they made you earned it, right? You got hit, right? You got, whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to do the same.
Right.
So I decided to get promoted in DCUs. Those DCUs became bloodstained. They beat the shit out of me. I have a few videos of me someone recorded me getting promoted. But I remember I don't want to out her, but Sergeant Hutchins, you remember the short squad leader? She all of a sudden you hear her go, "Shut the motherfucking camera off," right? And then the recording stops. Because that's when the NCOs came through. But yeah, I busted my ass for that waiver. I was a PFC for 7 months.
Good times.
It was. But then returning, Reggie's all excited, right? And we're all excited because we're not re-enlisting. We're going to get out. I think you left at the end of June or beginning of July.
Yeah, end of June. I was home by Father's Day.
I got promoted to sergeant while in Iraq, and no matter I was getting out, the battalion sergeant major decided to go, "You got to go to leadership school." I'm like, "I'm getting out. Like, what? Why? Why?" like it's just gonna be a waste of time. So for 2 weeks, I went to this leadership school, goofed around, made somebody cry. It was great.
I was either about to start clearing or just started clearing, and Sergeant Myers, she was getting her 8 when we got back. So we ended up getting a new platoon sergeant. I don't remember his name, but it was a Spanish gentleman, and he said, and everybody filled him in, or was supposed to anyway. Who's staying, who's moving, who's EPSing, who's getting out. And he came, I was standing with Josh because we're kind of trying to coordinate, like, okay, where are you headed? I'll give you a ride, you give me a ride, yada, yada, yada. So we were going to be going to CIF in a few days. The always wonderful experience that is Central Facility. He was like, "Regina." I was like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Tomorrow, you got to go. We're going to the range. You got to qualify." I was like, "Sorry, I'm going to CIF like in 2 days. My stuff has to be clean." He's like, who said you're going anywhere? I'm like, this. Here's the packet. And he was getting pretty darn insistent. And that's when Sarko walked out. He was like, "The hell is going on here?" And he's like, "Reg is not going anywhere." And he's like, "Yeah, it." He's like, "Unless," I was like, "Unless you're asking me to opt for at the range, I ain't going anywhere." And the new platoon sergeant, he got like red in the face. He was pretty insistent that I go qualify. I'm like, no.
Same thing happened to me. With a lot of the time, you could vouch for this. They put the soldiers that were getting out a lot of time because there was no point for like CQ. Me being an NCO, I was in charge of the CQ, and I was on it probably fucking once or twice a week. And one of those nights, you get bored. Red, you've been on CQ. You decide to read the company policy letters. And I came across one that says no soldier should pull CQ if they got 30 days or less. And I was like, oh. And I looked up on the calendar for the schedule, and I was going to have CQ again. I shit you not, it was like 29 days left of service. I'm like, oh, they're going to get boned because they had me on the schedule pretty much. And I went to them the day of, and I go, I'm not doing CQ anymore. Like, what do you mean? I go, and I put the company policy letter on his desk. I go, this says I don't have to do it. Oh yeah, great times. You know,
And you know what? I had some great times doing CQ because I always ended up with a awesome NCO. Like I can't tell you how many times like I was on CQ with Carnahan, or like the best. I think everybody would agree, Fergie. I can't tell you how many times Fergie's like, I'm gonna go get something to eat. He's gone for like 2 hours. He's like, he's like, you want to go take a nap? Go ahead. I went up on Friday night. I forgot who I ran into in the day room. Came back 3 hours later drunk. You know, like.
Here you go.
Whatever.
I hate to cut it short. I gotta go.
All right, bud.
We have to do a part 2 because we all talked about in service. Now we're gonna have to do out the transition.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, folks. For the dozen people that now watch.
And we could go on for hours just of the ridiculous nonsense we used to do. You know?
Yeah.
It was we were deviants. And I was one of the good ones. I was one of the well behaved ones.
Yeah, you didn't go York yourself.
And we could touch on that later. You know, especially we already made the poor timing joke with the gays. We also don't want to do it during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, I picked a good subject to do today.
Yeah.
Whatever. Fuck them.
So, with that being said, I'll leave off on this.
Are you telling me? I want to get this out real quick. I want to get this. God damn it, let me get this out. Are you telling me the homos can't take a gay joke, but they can sure as hell take a dick?
Well, with the size of yours, I don't think anybody's really having a problem.
It's a joke, not a dick. Don't take it so hard.
And with that said, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to get help. Guys, go. It doesn't matter if you're veteran, in the military, or 9 to 5. If you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. And
988 is the Veterans Crisis Hotline. It's also for civilians.
If you are in a spot where you need to call and you don't want to talk to family, or you don't have the family to talk to, call. And also, to all my gay and lesbian friends out there, happy Pride Month. Have fun, be safe, and don't do anything or do whatever you choose, guys do. Don't do what us straight people want to also do, or do it. We can't control it. I don't know. Yeah, have a good one, Joe. See
You
you
too,
next
Joe.
time.
See you next time.